I'm going to show you how to run an independent t-test. Now that is a test comparing two different groups. And in this case, the groups are going to come from gender, and there are two groups. And if I click on values here, that gives me an idea what this variable is. 1 is male, that's coded as male, and 2 is coded as female. And that's going to be the grouping variable, and you may want to write that down just before you do the test. So that's your grouping variable. Now, what do we want to compare? Well, we want to take a look at, in this case, I want to look at the frequency with which individuals, in this case higher education students, play games, watch movies, watch short video clips, search the web for personal reasons, go off on Facebook and use Twitter, instant messaging, or email for personal reasons. So these are distractions. Just to give you an idea of how I looked at these, if you click on the value labels, you'll see value labels up here. 1 is never, 2 is rarely, 3 is sometimes, 4 is frequently, and 5 is very frequently. So you may want to write down 5-point scale so you understand when you get an average of 2, for example, that means that students are rarely doing this activity. So what we're going to do is compare males and females on this. So do males play more games than females, or do they play significantly more games? So let's run that test. We go to Analyze, all right? And we're comparing means, right? The means, the average mean of, for example, playing games between males and females. And this is an independent t-test because they're two different groups. So here I go. I'm going to click that. Now, the very first thing is you have to do, well, you have to put your grouping variable. Now, I told you to write that down, but I remembered it's gender. That's the two, those are the two groups. But SPSS says, yes, but what are the number values? Remember that we might not remember, but 1 is male and 2 is female. So I'm going to put in 1 and 2 and continue. Now, what were the variables that I wanted to check out? Well, here we are, play games. And I'm going to press the Shift key and go right to the bottom here because I'm lazy. And I'm going to click that. And those are the test variables. And now you have got to the point where you're running the analysis. So that's step 1. If you click OK, you're going to be successful. And here is the output. That gets a little scary, so let's go over that. Remember, we're comparing males and females. You see male, female. You see the number of males, which is 54, and the number of females, which is 102. Okay. The mean for males playing games is 2.1 actually. Think of it as 2.1 and 1.6. Well, remember on that scale, the values 2 was rarely. So they're doing this stuff rarely here, except for maybe going on Facebook. You see females doing it occasionally, all right? And you see the values, but they don't go up to 4 and 5 where they do it all the time. So this is the mean for males. That's the standard deviation. Okay, so we get a hint that maybe males do this more than females. Let's just look at that first. Okay. All right, we see that. The one thing we might want to notice too is the standard deviation for males is 1.2, and for females it's about 1. Now, there may be a difference there. Let's see. Okay, so what we do is we come down here and we're looking at play games, so just focus on that, all right? Now, with play games, we'll go along here, we see that it says significance. Now, that's not the significance between males and females in terms of means. That's the significance between whether the variances or standard deviations are equal. In this case, it's very close to 0.05. If this value is less than 0.05, and let's assume it is, then you need to read the equal variances not assumed line. Let's go to the, oops, I jumped around there. Let's go to this line here. It says significance 0.01. Okay. So what we need to do then is it's saying that the variance or the standard deviation between the two samples is very different. It means we have some wonky samples here. May not be the same kind of, well, they're just different groups, which you might expect. So let's look at equal variances not assumed. This value, if it's less than 0.05, simply that means that we have to go to the second line, and then we can read along this line. So I'm moving along. See the cursor there? The t value is 2.1, I guess. And then we look at this value, and this is really what you want to take a look at. All right? And it's 0.03. Is 0.03 less than 0.05? Yes, it is. Therefore, we can say, come back here, that males play games significantly more than females during class. All right? So that's what let's go through another example. Watching movies. Well, we have males at 1.44 and females at 1.22. All right, let's take a look here. So we look at it, the first thing we look at is here, and we say, oh, that's 0.01. That is less than 0.05. Therefore, I'm going to go down to variances not, equal variances not assumed, okay? If you don't understand completely, then do it in a procedural way. You don't have to understand everything about a car to actually run the car. And in this case, this is a practical way to look at statistics. So equal variance is not assumed. I'm going to move along here. The t-value is 1.4. Now I know from experience that t-values that low, anything less than 2 are pretty much not significant. But that's not what you're concerned with. You do need to report the t-value, but what you're concerned with is this value here. It's a two-tailed t-test, 0.16. All right? So 0.16 is definitely greater than 0.05. Basically, 16 is greater than 5 if you have difficulty with decimals. And so we would say there is no significant difference between males and females with respect to watching movies during class. All right? One more example just to make sure that we have it. Let's see if we can find some sort of significant example here. And I'm just going to scoot down here. All right, let's go. So going on Facebook here. All right, let's take a look at Facebook. So in this case, looks like females are spending more time on Facebook than males. All right, let's go down. So that's 12E going on Facebook. Let's go down here. We look at equal variances. Well, we have 0.99. Well, that means that's definitely greater than 0.05, so equal variances are assumed. There's no significant difference between the variances. The groups, the samples in this particular question are similar. So that's good news. We have a t-value of 2.2. Really, actually, it's 2.3 because the 5 will round that up. And the t-tailed test says 0.02. That is less than 0.05. So we can assume, or we can say, that females use Facebook significantly more than males during class. All right? So that is how you read a t-test. And that's my summary.